Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the April 1st, 2024 Public Council meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Councilman Messeri,
Here.
Councilwoman Miga,
Here.
Councilman Zazali,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Scavage,
Here.
Mayor Peterson.
Here, please rise for the flag salute. Adequate notice of this meeting was duly provided to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and the Star Ledger by email and published in an annual schedule of meetings on December 14th, 2023, filed with the Township Clerk and posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building lobby in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Good evening, everyone. We will start with item 2, approval of minutes. A is to consider approval of minutes of regular public meeting, March 4th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga,
Yes.
Councilman Zazali,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Scavage,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Abstain. Item 3, we have 2 items for a public hearing. A is to consider adoption of pending capital ordinance number 24-928, a capital ordinance providing funding for the Township of Cedar Grove and appropriating $1.5 million for such purpose. Mr. Zakelli?
Mayor, if I may, thank you. As discussed last meeting, this is an ordinance that allocates funds within the Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase installation of water meters. The contract that was awarded last meeting. This ordinance does not create any new debt and provides a purpose for the funds that were previously allocated for in a general format. This money was already existing in the Capital Improvement Fund in fiscal year 2023's budget in the amount of $1,943,593, which is set forth on sheet 26 of 2023's adopted municipal budget. And of that amount previously allocated, this ordinance takes $1.5 million from that fund to pay for the meters and their installation, and the rest is remaining for other capital projects, which, if the need arises, will also require an ordinance for discussion of how we
Okay.
spend that money for those capital projects.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard on this item and this item alone? Seeing none, I will close that portion of the hearing, and do I have a motion?
So moved.
No.
You have to read it.
We have to.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Let me read that.
That's okay.
Pending ordinance, oh, no, sorry. I move for the adoption of pending ordinance 24-929 to be published in the Verona Cedar Grove.
It's 2E, there's a
What the heck am I doing?
No, it's not you, it's a typo. It's just-
928.
Oh, this is 928, sorry.
That's okay.
Shall we start again?
It's okay.
Redo.
I move for the adoption of pending ordinance 24-928 to be published in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a passed ordinance to take effect as prescribed by law.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga,
Yes.
Councilman Zazali,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Scavage,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item B is to consider adoption of pending ordinance number 24-929, an ordinance to amend Part 2 General Legislation, Chapter 208, Rental Property of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Cedar Grove. Okay. Do I, anyone from the public wishing to be heard on this portion? This portion only? No? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion.
Mayor, I move for the adoption of pending ordinance number 24-929 to be published in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a passed ordinance to take effect as prescribed by law.
Perfect. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga,
Yes.
Councilman Zazali,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Scavage,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item 4, the meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on the agenda. Seeing none, we will move on to item 5, reports of township officials. We will start with the township manager. Good evening, Mr. Zakelli.
Good evening, Mayor. I am reserving most of my comments for the items in new business. I do want to comment on consent agenda items 6C and 6D. I can comment now, or I can comment before you take the consent agenda.
You can
whatever your
comment now, and then I'll
preference is.
take them all together.
Okay, for item 6C, resolution considering the authorization of sale of municipal property no longer in use. This resolution authorizes the sale of property we're no longer using. The resolution authorizes the sale of a 2012 Ford F-350 Mason dump truck, a 1997 GMC truck, and a 2001 wood chipper. Township has 2 wood chippers, but we only have 1 box to chip into. These items will be auctioned off and sold to the highest bidder. This will create a little revenue and free up some much-needed space for the township. The other item on the consent agenda is 6D. This resolution authorizes the donation of a 2003 Chevrolet S10 pickup truck to the Cedar Grove Volunteer Fire Department for training on extrication tools and procedures. This truck was once our fleet maintenance vehicle and served us well for 21 years, but has lived far beyond its useful life and is being replaced by another truck already in the fleet. Once the fire department's done training on this vehicle, whatever remains will be sold for scrap, and the proceeds will be tendered to the township.
Great.
I reserve the rest of my comments for new business.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, Madam Clerk, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, audience members. I have no report this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. And our Township Attorney, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. I have no reports this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to reports of the council, I will start with Councilman Zazali.
Good evening, Mayor. At the last meeting, I'd mentioned that there were some areas in town that were prone to flooding, that some residents had came in and spoke about. And so about 2 weeks ago, I had an opportunity to go with Mr. Zakelli, and I was able to go. I could see the area where the flooding was, and get a better understanding of what was needed. And I know that we have a meeting coming up with some state officials in the surrounding towns on April 12th. So hopefully something comes of that. With that said, I also just want to acknowledge the DPW because when we have a big rainstorm, they're out there. They clean all the basins, they clean the river, and they clean up any damage after the storm. So just want to acknowledge them also.
Great, thank you very much. Councilman Messeri.
Good evening, Mayor. I don't have a report. I just have questions when we go through the agenda.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Councilwoman Mega.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening to everybody at home. I did attend a few meetings this past week, the Recreation Advisory, this past few weeks. The Rec Board had a meeting March 6th, and just wanted to put out a reminder that the spring programs have begun, and the online registration is in progress for summer programs. The township will also have an autism event at Town Hall April 20th, starting at 11, and Junior Firefighter Day will be held in May. I can't even speak tonight. May 19th at Community Park at 11. I also attended the monthly Historical Society meeting March 20th. So look out for some events that they will be planning in the future. And I attended the event they did just have on March 27th, New Jersey Resources and Genealogy. It was very well attended. It was very good. It was very informative. And I also attended the TREPS ribbon cutting with you and
Yep.
Deputy Mayor. And I'm happy to see that it's still so successful.
Yep.
And that's it.
You've been very busy.
I've been
Maybe that's why you
busy.
can't talk.
Maybe.
You're tired. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Deputy Mayor Skavich, how are you?
Yes, hi, Daniel. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. No formal report tonight. Just wanted to add on to Councilwoman Miga's comment about TREPS. I know it was at least a year that it was shut down and it didn't happen for a number of reasons. And I just want to recognize Cedar Grove resident Christine Perry, who really took the program under her wing and made sure that it went on without a hitch this year. I know she had a great staff as well of volunteers who helped her out, but she really spearheaded the effort to bring TREPS back, and it was very well attended, and a lot of kids participated and made some money that day. So I'm really glad to see that back. And that's all I have today.
Okay, yep, it was a great event, and I was happy to be there and see all the kids and all their successes. And the only thing I have for this evening is I was able to attend the Unico Easter egg hunt at the park this past Saturday, and it was so well attended. I would say there was hundreds of children there. It went from the driveway all the way up to the concession stands, lined with children. They had it really well organized in ages, and all the kids had so much. There was tons and tons and tons of eggs. So thank you to Unico for putting together an amazing event, as they always do. We're very, very lucky to have that organization in town. So that's all I have. We're going to move on to item number 6, which is our consent agenda, which I will take A through D together. A is to consider resolution concerning approval of non-draw wheels of chance raffle application St. Catherine of Siena. B is to consider resolution concerning approval of on-premise 50/50 raffle application Cedar Grove Elks Lodge number 2237. C is to consider resolution authorizing the sale of municipal property no longer in use. And D is to consider resolution authorizing the donation of a 2003 Chevy pickup truck to the fire department for purposes of extrication tools and training and procedures. Do I have a motion?
So
Mayor,
moved.
make a motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga,
Yes.
Councilman Zazali,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. And moving on to new business, item 7. A is to consider introduction of pending ordinance number 24-930, an ordinance amending Chapter 259 of the Township of the Code of the Township of Cedar Grove entitled Water.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may comment on this, this is an amendment to Chapter 259 of the Code of the Township of Cedar Grove, which covers the provision of water and water-related services to the residents and businesses of the township. This amendment does a lot in terms of updating language and removing inconsistencies that were once existing. The amendment provides for updated requirements imposed by the DEP and clarification for interpreting the ordinance. This amendment also alters our fee structure for billing for water and water-related services, which I will explain further in this item. For the public's edification, I will explain the concept of a utility in municipal budgeting. Theory behind the utility is that it must be self-liquidating. That is, the utility must support itself from the revenues that it receives. Our water and sewer utilities must support themselves from the quarterly water and sewer payments our residents and business pay, just as the pool must support itself from the membership fees. Residents need to understand that these utilities are not self-liquidating. The township needs to cover the difference from the current fund, which is solely raised by tax dollars. So either through taxes or rate increases, the deficit, if any, must be covered. In 2023, the water utility ran a $307,679.19 deficit. This means the water utility spent more than it realized in revenues, and because it's a utility, the taxpayers had to compensate for the differences through a deferred charge covered by taxation out of the current fund. In addition to clarifying language, this amendment alters our fee structure. Currently, township bills for water at $5 per 1,000 gallons, with the minimum charge set at $25. If this amendment is adopted upon a second reading, rates will change to $5.87 per 1,000 gallons, with a minimum charge set at $29.35. I will read that again. Currently, the township bills for water at $5 per 1,000 gallons, with the minimum charge set at $25. If this amendment is adopted after a second reading, rates will go to $5.87 per 1,000 gallons, with the minimum charge set at $29.35. The last time the township amended rates on water consumption was October 16, 2017, 7 years ago. For these utilities, compliance with the NJDEP and EPA regulations impose significant costs that burden operations. Because Cedar Grove does not treat its own water, but rather purchases it from North Jersey District Water Supply Commission and Passaic Valley Water Commission, we are bound by the rates that these entities strike when supplying us with water. In 2024 alone, the price to purchase water from these entities increased over 6% from both NJDWSC and PWVC. Even with these amendments, the township will remain at one of the lowest rates for providing water and water-related services when compared to other townships. In fact, Verona recently raised their water utility rates by 28%. These amendments to the ordinance were a result of a study performed by CP engineers out of Sparta, New Jersey, who reviewed the water and sewer utilities and their operational and capital needs, along with some deficiencies within the ordinance as currently written. There's a 32-page report available for the public on the township's website under our water and sewer department page. Not only does this ordinance clear up inconsistent language presently existing, but it will ensure the utilities are properly funded and supported to comply with various regulations and the needs of our residents. Council reviewed it, I reviewed it. This has been a 2-month-long review of these ordinances. And as always, I'm happy to answer any questions the council has or the public has on this or any other item.
Yep. I appreciate that explanation. I understand how much work you have put into this and how much thought. And to me, it makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much for that explanation. If anyone needs additional explanations, we're here to answer any questions. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
You gotta read it.
You got to read the
Okay.
this guy.
I move for introduction of pending bond ordinance.
Pending ordinance.
Ordinance.
Pending ordinance number 24-930 to be published in full in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a pending ordinance with a public hearing scheduled for May 6, 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item B is to consider introduction of pending ordinance number 24-931, an ordinance amending Chapter 217 of the Code of the Township of Cedar Grove entitled Soars.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an amendment to Chapter 217 of the Code of the Township of Cedar Grove as it relates to the provision of SOAR services for the residents and businesses of the township. All of my discussion on the functioning of a utility prior to this ordinance applies here too, but now I'm just going to talk about the SOAR side of it. Much like the water ordinance, this ordinance has not been touched since October of 2017. In 2023, the SOAR utility ran a $226,995.52 deficit. These amendments clear up inconsistent language in the ordinance as presently written and also aids in the interpretation of the ordinance for future applications. This amendment, like the water amendment, alters the billing structure. Currently, the township bills properties $90 for the first 20,000 gallons of consumption and then charges a $7.35 per 1,000 gallon surcharge on top of any consumption over 20,000 gallons. It's a little confusing and it's hard to bill. In speaking with Rebecca and going through the report, the township is seeking to eliminate the tiered structure and effect a flat rate of $5.50 per 1,000 gallons, with the minimum charge being $90.75. So again, I'll explain currently. The township bills $90 for the first 20,000 gallons of consumption, and then any 1,000 gallons over 20,000 are billed at a surcharge rate of $7.35 per 1,000 gallons. This amendment would eliminate the tiered system, set up a minimum charge of $90.75, and set a flat rate of $5.50 per 1,000 gallons. As it relates to the SOAR utility, the township needs to embark on an aggressive capital plan for these utilities, which include replacing water mains and SOAR mains for the water side, and also improving our sewage treatment plant and reducing the recurring costs associated with removing sludge hauling, which the council is aware we just awarded a contract in excess of $270,000 to remove the sludge. Furthermore, compliance with NJDEP and EPA regulations is consistently more expensive. Prudent capital investments will reduce long-term operating costs. If we invest in the capital to reduce the amount that we need to remove in terms of sludge, that'll reduce the operating cost of the utility. Just like the water utility, this utility was also analyzed by CP engineers, and their analysis is included in the same report that's on the township's website.
Thank you
That's it.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great
I have a
explanation.
question for
Yeah.
the town manager. Regarding these two utilities with the amendment to the price,
Yeah.
does that mathematically, assuming that the consumption was the same as last year, would it,
Eliminate the deficit.
it would zero the deficit then, if, assuming the same?
So we did two things this year. I removed, which I'll explain in the municipal budget portion of it. I removed some items out of the utilities back into the cap to make the utilities stronger just from an operational standpoint, because there's less of an expense coming out of them now. All right, we're charging less to it by moving some salaries and some other operations out, which I'll explain in the budget. Assuming consumption stays the same, yes, actually, what they recommended was a greater increase to build a surplus, but Rebecca and I sat down and we felt that that wasn't necessary right now because we can create the surplus by removing certain entities out of the utilities. This will eliminate the deficits, assuming everything remains the same in terms of consumption and prices, again, don't, chemical costs went up 26% in the utilities. Just that's what we use to treat the sewage to render it to sludge. So barring any massive increases or serious issues, this will eliminate the deficits.
Great, thank you.
It's important to also note, Mayor, if I may, that deficit is eliminated by virtue of covering it from the current fund, right? So, as I explained before, there may be a deficit in the operations. That money has to be paid from somewhere.
Right.
So currently it's being paid for out of the tax dollars in the current fund. Now we're seeking to eliminate that tax burden and shift it back to the utilities, which is where it belongs.
Right, exactly.
Same with the swimming pool.
Yep, self-sustaining. Thank you very much. Okay, do I have a motion?
I move for introduction of pending ordinance 24-931 to be published in full in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a pending ordinance with a public hearing scheduled for May 6th.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item C is to consider a resolution concerning introduction of the 2024 municipal budget.
Buckle up.
It's a big one.
I'll begin by, through you, Mayor, providing a summary of the 2024 valuations. The township's rateables in 2024 totaled $2,259,524,000, reflecting an increase of $2,538,300 from last year's numbers. Township's public utilities totaled $1,521,100, reflecting a $19,600 increase from fiscal year 2023. The township's net valuable taxation increased by $2,557,000 to total $2,261,045,100 in 2024. Overall, the average residential assessment in 2024 increased by $1,900 from $473,000 in fiscal year 2023 to $474,900 in fiscal year 2024. As an aside, we will be ordered to have a reval by 2026. The Essex County Board of Taxation just issued that order. So that in 2 years, the township, every 10 years you have to go out to reval. We haven't done it since 2010 because we kept our metrics in pretty good shape. But we're the oldest reval on the books now, so that'll be changing in 2026. This past year, as occurred in prior years, at the mayor and council's directive to administer prudent budget management, tough decisions were required to be made that were always in the best interest of our residents. As has and will be reflected in Essex County Tax Board analysis on the county-wide taxes, Cedar Grove has maintained one of the lowest municipal tax rates among all of Essex County's municipalities. At the behest of this council, the township made many hard decisions to keep the budget in line with state mandates, with the ultimate goal of keeping us at the lowest or among the lowest taxed municipalities in the county, while focusing on modernization and providing even better services to our residents. While other industries effortlessly pass increased costs onto the consumer, this council does not act with haste and has continued to make Cedar Grove an affordable and attractive town to live in. As with every single budget, the township addresses our residents' most basic needs first before considering other requests. Every year, our retirement benefit roll becomes larger, which adds increased long-term costs to the taxpayer. To combat these increases, we employ a pay-as-you-go approach. Given numerous changes in our finance department and other extraordinary increases in price and cost among various sectors, this was a very difficult budget year. Inflation, statutory increases, and contractual obligations, most notably our increases in health and liability insurance, did not make this an easy process, which we began back in November. Indeed, the three biggest areas that are driving the budget this year are group medical coverage and insurance, police salaries and operating expenses, and PERS, PFRS, and Social Security contributions. 2024, the township is projected to spend $3,670,000 on group medical benefits and $80,500 on retiree Medicare Part B reimbursements, compared to $3,280,627 and $77,174 last year, respectively. The assessment for workers' compensation increased by $10,000 to $285,000 in fiscal year '24, and the assessment for general liability increased from $350,725 to $480,000 in fiscal year '24, which is an increase of $130,000. These increases alone increased over $400,000 from what they were in fiscal year '23. With respect to our police department, the proposed budget reflects staffing levels at 31 officers. Total police salaries and operating expenses were $5,665,379. With respect to our library, 2024's budget reflects an appropriation of $944,903. With respect to PERS, PFRS, and Social Security contributions, fiscal year 2024 projects costs to be at $655,390, $1,691,959, and $438,748 respectively, which totals $2,786,097. Last year, these same lines cost $2,682,526, which is a total increase among the three categories of $103,571. To combat these increases, which would have placed the appropriations over and above what we could have statutorily been permitted to increase, the Division of Local Government Services provided various cap exclusions for health insurance, pension costs, and liability insurance, among other things. The township is constantly seeking new ways to reduce costs and generate revenue. The township retained the services of a part-time consulting engineer in lieu of a full-time municipal engineer. This saves the township approximately $45,000 per year in health insurance and pension payments. Additionally, the position of planning and zoning coordinator, which was once a full-time position, is now being staffed by an employee receiving an additional stipend, which saves the township approximately $40,000 per year. Recently, the township began permitting the use of fields and other facilities, the generation of revenue we use to offset the cost of maintaining these facilities. Here's the good part. Total appropriations. In fiscal year '24, the budget reflects appropriations of $23,710,523.98. compared to fiscal year '23, which had appropriations totaling $22,495,848.22. Fiscal year '23's budget increased appropriations by $1,842,142 when compared to fiscal year '22's budget. Conversely, this year, fiscal year '24's budget increased appropriations by $1,214,675.76, which is less than the increase the township saw between last year's budget and fiscal year '22's budget. On January 8th, 2024, this council introduced and subsequently passed a COLA ordinance that allowed for the township to increase fiscal year '23's appropriations by 3.5%. By introducing this ordinance, appropriations were allowed to increase by an extra $153,397.75, allowing for a total increase in appropriations not to exceed $519,870.69. This year, I'm proud to announce that the township came in well beneath its appropriation cap and established a cap bank of $294,078.58, which is good for the next 2 years and may be rolled into future appropriation increases beyond the COLA increase provided for. In essence, this means the township would have been permitted to raise appropriations by nearly an additional $300,000. By comparison, last year the township was only $176 beneath the appropriation cap. Again, this year we're $294,078.58 beneath the appropriation cap. With respect to the levy cap, Cedar Grove was well beneath this. In 2024, Cedar Grove was permitted to raise $12,156,698 by local taxes. This year, our budget reflects a levy of $11,842,545.10, which is $314,153.47 beneath our levy cap. Overall, we have a levy cap bank of $3,599,286, so we need to carry that levy into future years. Using the tax levy is one way to fund the municipal budget. The other way is to use fund balance. As the council is aware, historically, this township has always had a very healthy fund balance. However, in 2024, the township saw a dip in our fund balance because of the money the township gives to the Board of Education as part of our pilot agreement. The $1.2 million per year we give to the school district in excess of their tax obligation cost the township approximately $1.8 million in fund balance this year to compensate for prorated payments. By comparison, the township's fund balance on December 31st, 2022 was $13,796,154.32. On December 31 of 23, the fund balance was $12,180,716.58. We will be regenerating this fund balance next year by returning to a normal payment schedule as it relates to our pilot agreement. But to further grow our fund balance, we're seeking to consolidate all our banks into one bank so we can grow interest in one bank account as opposed to 5. Overall, this year, the budget will be funded from $7.3 million in fund balance and $11,842,545 from the tax levy, the difference coming in from other revenues. This results in a $67.43 increase on the average residential assessment for the year. Again, that's $67.43 increase on the average residential assessment for the year. This number commutes to $5.62 per month, or $1.29 per week. This increase is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the county. With these numbers in mind, I want to reiterate to the residents that the breakdown amongst other entities in the township is certainly seen. The county didn't strike a rate yet, but the estimated percentage of your tax dollars, the township will see approximately 21% of that. The county will see approximately 19.68%, and the Board of Education will see approximately 56.1% of your tax dollars. So we really make the 21 cents on the dollar we receive stretch as far as it possibly can. Lastly, I want to talk about our debt service. This is something that I'm pretty proud of. As the council is aware, during my time as interim CFO, the township went out and recast our debt to save a lot of money in interest costs. In July of 2023, the township received a credit upgrade from Standard & Poor's from AA with a positive outlook to AA+. This allowed us to restructure our debt, which was previously cast entirely in bond anticipation notes. As such, the township split the debt between traditional bonds and bands. The township was able to lock in bond rates at an effective 3.26% for 15 years and one-year note rates at 3.65%, far less than the percentage we budgeted for. Because of this, I'm pleased to share how we are saving this money and are pursuing a more aggressive debt pay down than ever before. In fiscal year 24, the township will be extinguishing the following ordinances 4 years earlier than the required payoff is required. Ordinance 17806, Road Overlay Program, for $390,000, and Ordinance 17808, Various General Improvements, for $530,500. The township's debt service on bond anticipation notes for fiscal year '24 consists of $1,937,570 in principal payments and $428,420 in interest payments. These numbers, when added, reflect total band debt service in the amount of $2,365,990.25. Last year, our band debt service was $2,360,040, which is almost the same number that we're paying this year. However, the difference is the township paid $765,000 in interest last year, as opposed to the $428,420.25 we're paying this year. That difference of $336,619 is being applied directly towards our principal payments. We easily could apply this money elsewhere in the budget. However, it's prudent to pay our debt fast and ahead of schedule. With respect to the township's debt service on bonds, we will be paying $916,000 in principal and $462,660 in interest, for a total of $1,378,660. Overall, our entire debt payment this year will be $3,744,650.25. So of the $23 million appropriation, 3.7 of that is paying our debt. To close, we're going to continue to save wherever we can save. We're going to administer prudent management to stretch this dollar as far as it possibly can to give the residents the service they deserve at a price that continues to make this township attractive to live in. And with that, I yield to you, Mayor.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Zakelli. I can't say enough how much Mr. Zakelli has put into this budget. Like he said, since November, I would say blood, sweat, and tears. Nothing short of that, working 80 hours a week, going line by line by line, looking at it every which way he could. How many discussions do we have every day about the budget? And every single penny and dime has been considered. I can assure all of the residents of that. So this budget was not taken lightly. I know you've done a fantastic job. I thank you for your hard work, for your dedication, for your time, because a lot of it you're not even paid for. So I really cannot say enough and commend you enough and thank you enough for your hard work and for your service to this township. And we are all very lucky to have you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So with that said, do I have a motion?
I had a question. And a
Oh,
comment.
go ahead.
That's okay. I have to also concur and echo what the mayor said. I mean, we spent a lot of time on this, and paying attention to all the detail has led to where we are today. And to have a $67 increase on the average home for a year, based on all the increases that we received by inflation, by costs, by insurance, the insurance alone, that's a significant win for the town. So I wanted to thank you for paying attention to all those details and making sure that this was possible and saving where we could. My question is related to the road overlay.
Sure.
I know there's been some questions in town about the PSE&G work that's been going on for the last several weeks. And I know during prior council meetings, you said that there could be some collaboration with road work through PSE&G covering some of the costs. Can you explain that to the public?
Sure.
And
Through you,
where we
Mayor.
stand with that?
We have a very good ongoing relationship with PSE&G, where we worked out a system but based off of linear feet, where the township is paving roads every year anyway. So we said to PSE&G, do all the gas mains on these streets that we're going to be paving, and we'll pave it at no cost to PS, because we're doing it anyway. In turn, PS is taking that same amount of linear feet and doing gas mains on other streets in the township, and they're going to be paving those at no cost to the township. So we're basically getting twice the amount of streets paved at the same cost for paying what we'd be paying anyway. Right now, they're on Bowden Road, and they're doing all the streets that go off of Bowden. They did Brunswick first. They're going to go back and check David and Sweetwood, because that currently has been milled and is being prepped for pavement. That's one street that the township has been, we were awarded an NJDOT grant for. Brunswick is the next NJDOT grant. Carlson Parkway and Smith Place is the next NJDOT grant. Those are separate and are part of the road overlay, but the same way PSE&G is working on all of those streets in the order that we're paving in.
Yep.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, that's perfect. So in essence, we're getting twice as much paved, but half of the cost, because PSE&G is covering, essentially half of the cost for those roads. What about time frame? What does it look like for some of these residents that are seeing, all the streets look like war zones?
Swiss cheese, yeah. So we had a time frame established, and PSE&G had to be pulled off of Brunswick Road to go somewhere else. I would say we just signed the contract today for we prepared to sign the contract for the road overlay, which will be done in September. So paving, we hope, will be complete, done in September, which means all the gas work has to be done before then. Importantly, though, this is doing services. This is allowing the township to go change water mains on the street. We do not want to redig on a street after it's been paved. It's something we really, really want to avoid. So typically, PSE&G cuts a trench in the road. It takes 90 days for that trench to settle and make sure that there's no bellying in it. Once that trench settles, we can go through and pave the whole thing. They do about 400 feet a day, so 400, 500 feet a day. Once school's out, they'll be even going more. But I anticipate by September, everything will be buttoned up and paved.
So it's going to be this year.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Mrs.
We don't want to plow snow on
Right.
bumpy roads.
Right.
You know?
Thank you. That's all I had, Mayor.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
Do that one. Mayor, I move for the introduction of pending bond order. Why does it say?
No, we're on C.
No.
Where are we?
Municipal
We're on
budget.
C. We're on C. There's
We're
no-
on-
Just a res- it's just a,
Oh.
it's just a motion.
Oh, okay. So,
Resolution.
so moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga?
Yes.
Councilman Zazali?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes. Item D is to consider resolution concerning introduction of the 2024 solid waste collection district budget.
Mayor, thank you. This is not as long. This is our budget that funds garbage collection. It's outside of our cap calculation. I am proud to say this budget decreased by $245,820.10. Has a total appropriation in fiscal year '24 of $2,164,999 compared to a total in fiscal year '23 of $2,410,819.10. This budget is being funded with $329,950.04 in surplus. That's it.
Very much. Wow.
Garbage is easy. We like that budget.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, Mayor.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga?
Yes.
Councilman Zazali?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes. Item E is to consider resolution concerning compliance with NJSA 40A4-5 as amended by PL 2017-183.
Mayor, I'll explain this. This has to be adopted every year upon consideration of the municipal budget, but this year the township is subject to state review of our budget. Every 3 years, the state reviews it. Other years, you could go into self-examination and review it yourself. The state's reviewing it this year, so we want all of this buttoned up, so that way we could send it down to the state with a nice complete packet for them to hopefully review and say, nice job. This resolution certifies the governing body's compliance with the United States Employment Opportunity Commission's guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records in employment decisions. Under Title VII of CRA of 1964, this is required by NJSA 40A:4-5 to be considered prior to the approval of the municipal budget. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga?
Yes.
Councilman Zazali?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes. Item F is to consider introduction of pending ordinance number 24-932, bond ordinance authorizing various general improvements in and for the Township of Cedar Grove in the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $1,894,310, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,799,594 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Mayor, if I may, the township seeks to cast a $1,827,310 capital improvement bond. That number is going to be reduced by $398,000 through an NJDOT grant, resulting in a total capital cost of $1,429,310. This will likely be cashed through bond anticipation notes, as the bond ban interest rate is not inverted the way it was last year. But we'll make that decision the day of the sale,
Yep.
when we want to see what the rates are. This year, ban rates will be 50 to 100 basis points lower when we go to cast. Accordingly, this year, the township plans on placing into general capital. For the public's edification, I will read The 2024 road overlay program, $320,000. 2024 road reconstruction, design of Carlson and Smith Place, $440,000, which will be reduced by $398,000 NJDOT grant. Easement repair on Bowden Road for $300,000. Replacing an F-350 mason dump, $85,000. Repairing the leaf tag box, this is what we use to suck up the leaves throughout town, $35,000. The Cat Mini excavator, new, they're around $120,000, but we're gonna be trading in our old one, and the difference is this, $65,000. Upgrading the fuel management system to be digital down at DPW, $20,000. Sidewalk repair and replacement, $12,000. Tree replanting program, $40,000. We do this every year. We add money in the capital budget to plant trees throughout the township. Town hall LED lighting conversion, $35,000. Town hall council chambers and office renovation, $40,000. VFW remediation, this is the money we're seeking to spend to remediate the VFW site and plant trees there also. Remove the asphalt, we're already getting prices and quotes to return that back to pervious surface and remove the impervious surface. Rehabilitation of the barn at Morgan's Farm, some of the bricks are pointed out, and some work needs to be done there, it's $20,000. New banners, Hometown Hero banners up in the, down Route 23, $15,000. Peckman River improvements, this is used to actually go in the river and do some of the work. We've also, we're hoping to receive $125,000 from the state to offset some of these costs. We won't have to bond for it. Tax map digitalization upgrade, that's $10,000. That's required before we're ordered to go out to reval. Bocce ball court coverings, $40,000. Upgrades and improvements to Panther Park, $10,000. South End firehouse improvements, $12,000. For our fire department, electric vehicle nozzle, which slides under the vehicle for an electric vehicle that's on fire and it keeps it cool. And radio reprogramming, $30,000. For our police department, Cedar Grove police armor, $28,000. Police conversion equipment, $69,000. Police desk upgrade, we're moving the dispatch desk from where it is to a new location in the police department, $55,000. Fleet retention, $28,310. I think the council's favorite item, the Stalker drone for our police department to, as you know, you're aware, to use to apprehend criminals and also use at community events for $15,000. There's also $50,000 for statutory expenses covered with the bond ordinance.
Very good. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move for the introduction of pending bond ordinance number 24-932 to be published in full in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a pending ordinance with a public hearing scheduled for May 6, 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri.
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skabbage.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item G is to consider introduction of pending bond ordinance number 24-933, bond ordinance authorizing various water utility improvements in and for the Township of Cedar Grove in the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $1.1 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1 million, 45,000 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance seeks to cast a $1.1 million capital improvement bond for the water utility. Every year by law, we have to replace one water main. Last year, we did the one on Rutgers Avenue. The next two really bad ones are Briar Hill and Monroe Street. Briar Hill is, we're seeking to do this year. That's an $850,000 cost. Part of the issue with Briar Hill is there's a bridge that, you cross from Ridge to go over to Briar Hill. So replacing a water main under the bridge is very difficult, considering the DEP doesn't really like you going into the river. So, but we're going to figure it out. Also, Briar Hill at this point has more areas of replacement than original pipe, and that's an issue. So that's $850,000. We're also going to be replacing 2 trucks for $200,000 total, and the statutory expenses of $50,000 are included in that bond.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move for introduction of pending bond ordinance 24-933 to be published in full in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a pending ordinance with public hearing scheduled for May 6, 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri.
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skabbage.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item H is to consider introduction of pending bond ordinance number 24-934. Bond ordinance authorizing various sewer utility improvements in and for the Township of Cedar Grove in the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $200,000 therefore and authorizing the issuance of $200,000 bonds or note to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a ordinance seeking to cash a $200,000 capital improvement bond for the sewer utility, which also will likely be cashed through bands. This is for various general improvements to our sewer system. We have RBCs down there, which is big concrete rotating contactors. We did one about 2 years ago. We'll do another one now. But as the council's aware, in the water and sewer rate analysis, there's significant items of capital for the sewer utility that will be discussed, over the next coming years, something that's healthy for the sewer. But these are like little improvements that we can do to kind of keep it updated as best we can. As the council's aware, we did spend money out of the CARES Act to do the EQ tank, so that didn't cost the township any money. And there's also $50,000 from the statutory expenses here as well.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move for introduction of pending bond ordinance number 24-934 to be published in full in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a pending ordinance with a public hearing scheduled for May 6, 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri.
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item I is to consider a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Cedar Grove authorizing the purchase of water meters from Rio Supply of Sicklerville, New Jersey 08081 through the Morris County Cooperative Pricing, contract number 47 for the purchase of Neptune 360 water meters in the amount not to exceed $1 million.
Mayor, this, earlier today, the council adopted the ordinance allocating money in the capital improvement fund. This is the purchase of those meters from the money that was allocated for in the capital improvement fund. I do want to note that many townships are charging their residents for these meters. They can range in cost between $800 and $1,200 installed. The township's using its pilot funds to pay for this directly.
Yeah.
So there's no out-of-pocket cost for anyone who has a meter less than 1 inch, which most residents do.
Yeah.
Some houses have 2 inch meters. That's
Makes
it.
sense. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thanks. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri.
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item 8, approval of bills.
Be it resolved by the Township of Cedar Grove, County of Essex, New Jersey, that the summary of bills having been duly audited and found to be correct are hereby ordered paid in the aggregated amount of $2,991,908.84.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri.
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga.
Yes.
Councilman Zazali.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Skavic.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Item 9, the meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on or off the agenda concerning township business.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Carly, Essex County Liaison. I just wanted to announce a couple of events happening in the month of April throughout the county. The first begins this weekend. It's our Essex County Cherry Blossom Festival in Branch Brook Park. I'm happy to report that as of this morning, the cherry blossoms have reached peak bloom. And this weekend, we will kick off with a bike race on Saturday and a 10K run on Sunday. Registration is open through, I believe, Friday evening, and it's online at essexcountynj.org. Next weekend, we will have Essex County Family Day on Saturday, April 13th, and then Bloomfest on Sunday, April 14th. Both of those events are free to participate or attend in. All of the details are online. And then on April 20th, the county will celebrate Earth Day at the Essex County Environmental Center in Roseland. This is a free event with a lot of our partner groups participating, such as the Rutgers Master Gardeners of Essex County. There'll be a 4-H fair, our Essex County beekeepers, and it's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on April 20th. So I look forward and invite all of the residents to attend.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to be heard? No? Sure. Come on. Good evening.
Good evening. Emmett Acasella, 321 Bowden Road.
Okay.
I didn't hear much going on, or backyard. I know they stopped construction, or destruction, whatever you want to call it, behind my house. And from what I understand, there's new stipulations, something changed the plans.
Can I speak to that? or-
Go ahead, Mayor. I'm
It-
not aware of any plans that changed.
It's my understanding that there's been nothing has been changed in terms of, from the township side. I think on the builder's end, from what I understand, and I hope I'm not wrong, but it is my understanding that they're having money issues. So
Money
things
issues.
have come to a halt, I guess, until their funding comes back in, so that's why, that's right, or?
Mayor, through you, I have not heard anything from the builder. I speak with our Affordable Housing Council on it. He's reaching out to them. We do have money in escrow that we still retain, as well as we get monthly reports from new van lines, who the township pays out of escrow to keep an update on the progress of this site. But I have not heard from anyone on that site regarding the
Right,
the project.
yeah, and I haven't either. This is just kind of what I've heard,
Yeah.
so I can't say that with like 100% certainty, but I do know that it has stopped. But that it doesn't mean that the plan has stopped or that it's going to change. It just means that it's temporarily halted. For how long, I have no idea.
Well, that don't upset me at all.
I know,
don't
it
mind
doesn't
telling
upset
you
me
that.
either.
But that's fine.
So-
And there's something else I wanted to bring up. I don't know if any of you are aware, there's a building on the corner of Village Park and Sand Park, pretty large building, maybe 50,000 square feet. I don't know, I didn't measure it. And I don't know if are you familiar what they do in that? They call it a fencing school. They teach kids how to fence.
I am not,
Swords and-
yeah, I'm not familiar with it, though, no.
Okay, well, the reason I brought it up, about a month ago, and I reported this to headquarters. I went in just to see if they knew what was happening. But I was leaving the mulching yard. I come up the hill, and there's a school bus, out-of-town old school bus, parked on the left side of the road. And getting out of the school bus, I had to stop. Maybe 50 young children, some older children, a lot of men, a few women, carrying some rolling suitcases, some carrying suitcases, all entering the building. And I don't know where they came from, but I don't know why they walked in front of my truck, but they literally, like they didn't know any better. They entered the building and never heard anything about it or anything since. Don't know who they are, where they come from. They didn't look like they were going there to practice fencing. But you might want to do some homework and
Mayor,
look
if you'd
into
like,
it.
I could have someone just see the occupancy conditions of the building.
Yeah,
just to
that
check.
would be fine. I mean, the only thing my mind is going, just because I have kids that participate in, maybe it was like a tournament or something like that they were all going in, but I have no idea, so if you.
So, yeah, do you have the date of that, Mr.
Well,
Acasella?
they had a lot of luggage with them, some of them.
Do you have the date of that occurrence?
No, it was about a month ago.
Okay.
I
I mean, so-
mentioned it to the chief, actually. He happened to be walking out as I was
What
walking
road,
down.
where? I don't even know. where-
It's on the corner, on the corner of Sand Park and Village Park, across from Soma Plastics, before you pull into the
Oh,
Caputo
okay.
mulch yard. I know where it is. I will have code enforcement just take a look and see what the occupancy capacity is.
Yep.
And if there's events that cause that occupancy to
It was
increase.
just suspicious looking.
Yeah.
It was an out-of-town bus.
Yeah.
What are they doing there?
Take
I
a look.
I don't know.
Yep.
But I figured it's something worth mentioning to you. Okay?
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you very
Alrighty.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Have a
Have a
good
good
night.
night. Anyone else wishing to be heard? No? Okay. All right, seeing none, I will close that portion, and do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Messeri,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miga,
Yes.
Councilman Zazali,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Scavich.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job.